Hey all! Welcome back to the Book Nook. I'm just catching up on some comments people left on my latest video. You know, the one where we started to learn about text structure? Listen to this comment. Great video. My dad watched it with me, and he said the wheel is the most important invention ever in history. What's your opinion? Huh. My goal was to explore inventions with echoes of the past, creations made long ago that still impact our lives today. But now there's a fun little twist. What is the most influential or important invention? Is it even possible to pick just one? I have an idea. Let's keep learning about informational texts and the choices authors make while writing them. And as we do, we can try to form our own opinions about which invention truly stands out as the most important. Last time we began our exploration into text structures, the clues we can spot to help us understand which structure is being used, and why an author might choose to use a specific text structure. Today we're going to dive into another type of text structure and continue learning about inventions that changed the world. Let's get started with a video about two amazing inventions: boats and trains. As you watch, think about this. Which text structure might this Miatuber be using to present their ideas? Listen closely and see if you can tell if the creator of this video is comparing and contrasting, showing cause and effect, or presenting a problem and solution.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking boats and trains, two inventions that changed how we move and connect with each other. They've both made a huge impact, but in their own unique ways. So, which one's the real MVP of travel history? Let's jump in and see how these two inventions took different routes to change the world. First up, boats. Thousands of years ago, someone had the bright idea to hollow out a log, and the first boat was born. Boats have been around for ages, starting small to help people fish and trade along rivers, and eventually growing bigger, stronger, and ready to take on the world. Soon, boats were crossing entire oceans, connecting distant lands and cultures, and hey, even taking people on vacation. Now let's talk trains. Just like boats, trains also helped move people and things around more quickly and connected places like never before. Unlike boats, trains aren't thousands of years old. In fact, trains didn't appear until the early 1800s. Imagine a huffing, puffing steam engine chugging across the land on iron rails. That's how trains first started. Over time, trains became faster, more efficient, and could carry even heavier loads over longer distances. And unlike boats, trains don't have to worry about storms. They just keep chugging along, rain or shine. So, what's the takeaway? Both boats and trains changed how people traveled and traded with each other, but they did it in different ways. Boats went venturing into the unknown waters, connecting continents. Meanwhile, trains were connecting towns and fueling the rise of modern cities. In the end, both boats and trains made the world smaller, but each took a different route to get there. Whether you're sailing the seas or riding the rails, these two modes of travel have left their mark on history, showing us that there's more than one way to change the world. So, which do you think was most influential? Well, that's all from me. See you next time.
Oh, wow! Boats and trains really did change the world, didn't they? But in their own unique ways. Were you able to identify the text structure the creator used? This is a great example of a compare and contrast text structure. Texts like these show the similarities and differences between two things. Did you catch any signal words that might have clued you into this text structure? Let's take a close look at the transcript. You can keep the video playing to view each part a little closer, or you can pause, grab your highlighter or pencil, and read and underline at your own pace. The signal words showing us what's the same and what's different. Here are all the signal words I found. Did you spot them all? I underlined words like both and also, and I heard words like different, unique, and unlike. Signal words like these make it easier for us to follow the ideas, don't they? When we see the word unlike, we know a difference between the two things is coming up. And when we see both or also, we know the author is pointing out a similarity. These clues help us understand the two things the author is writing about, in this case, boats and trains, and how they relate to each other. Whenever I read a text that is comparing and contrasting, I like to use a special organizer called a Venn diagram. You draw two circles that overlap in the middle, and ta-da! A super handy tool for comparing and contrasting. For this text, we can label one circle boats and the other trains. In the part where the circles overlap, write down how boats and trains are similar. In the separate parts of each circle, write down how they're different. You can use the text to help you. Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to pause and fill this in. All right. Did you notice how both boats and trains make travel easier, but in different ways? Both of them helped make the world feel smaller and more connected, allowing people and items to get from one place to another quicker than before. And because of both boats and trains, entire new towns and cities came to be. But boats have been on waterways for thousands of years, connecting faraway places to one another. And unlike boats, trains stick to land and are much newer than boats, only about 200 years old. This is exactly what the compare and contrast structure helps us see, how two things can be alike and different at the same time. So, when might an author use a compare and contrast text structure? Well, whenever they want to show these similarities and differences between anything, really. Maybe the author wants to explain two different animals, like cats and dogs, or compare two ideas, like the benefits of exercising indoors and outdoors. Can you think of two things you might compare and contrast using a text structure like this? Pause here to write down these ideas and add your own. Great work today! As readers, we found the signal words of another text structure and learned when an author might use this kind of organization for their writing. And from reading, we learned more about the way boats and trains changed transportation forever. You can keep practicing with compare and contrast text structures, but before you go, let me ask you this. After learning about boats and trains, and the wheel earlier, do you think we found the most influential invention yet? I'm not quite sure. By the way, I've decided to keep the transcripts and other things we read in a folder for safekeeping. You might want to do the same. This way, when it's time to choose which invention we think is the most influential, we can look back on what we've read about. I'll place this symbol on any of the pages I think would be helpful to keep for us to look back on later. All right, come back next time to continue exploring these echoes of the past. And until then, keep reading and keep working on those goals.
Hey!